So this is Mari Grimes. My audio notes for the Marx reading in Session 8 of Edupreneurship. So in going about trying to make sense and meaning of this very deep, complex reading, I first tried to get a little bit of background and understanding of Marx and his purpose of Das Kapital, and then tried to get a little bit more of a definition, understanding of what an entrepreneur was, and then see and explore how those two might mesh. So in my exploration of Marx and Das Kapital, I found in its most simplest terms that book was an account of the history, development, and future of capitalism. And the first chapter of that book details commodities, and he explains that they can be of two types: a use value or an exchange value, and that the exchange value is rooted in how much labor went into them to create the product. And I put emphasis on labor because later on I'll be talking about what I think I learned a little bit more deeply about in Marx's kind of treatise. So I knew a little bit more about Marx and Das Kapital. Then I wanted to say, okay, what do people mean when they talk about an entrepreneur? So, according to Investopedia, they described an entrepreneur as someone who's an innovator, a generator of ideas, new processes, someone who takes risks. I think of entrepreneurs as disruptors of the status quo. So, similarly, an edupreneur is one who is an entrepreneur who focuses on educated, related, innovative ideas, who takes risks, and if successful, disrupts the status quo. But the question still remains, like, how do these seemingly different ideas relate to each other? Why was this reading included in the session on edupreneurship? And because of much of Marx's discourse focuses on labor, I tried to focus my attention and better understand his points about labor. So, more specifically, Marx said that human labor equals value, and that as labor time for production changes, this causes the value to change. So I understood that to mean as labor time for something it takes less time to create something, then that causes the value to change, which I think in this instance or this example would cause the value to lower. So I wondered if let's say in education, if a new application that was designed by edupreneurs was designed to help teachers to more quickly gauge student knowledge, thus shortening the labor time needed for that process, then applying Marx's theory would mean that the value of that labor, maybe teaching, will change, perhaps lessen. So what I came to kind of understand is that innovative ideas, new processes that affect labor, can have disruptive applications to labor time or the value of labor. And that's how entrepreneurship can affect labor as Marx was describing it. I had many questions, but I think the question that stands out the most to me is, okay, we're talking about value, but I wonder, value in a capitalist society is measured by money, if that's correct, if that's my understanding. So how does one determine the monetary value of labor? And that's something that may be later on in different chapters, but because we're having such in-depth description of labor and utility value and just value in general, well, how do we make that step between the value of labor and how it becomes monetarized, if that's the right word? Anyway, thank you for listening.